Hey everybody, Erico here. So to kind of jump on the train that everybody has been riding along on and hanging on to, this topic of this young man that hit the news coverage only maybe a few days or so ago. His name is Luigi Mangione. He's actually from the same state as I am, and it is kind of baffling and sad to even say this. But he and his family are well known in rich circles. I've heard of the Mangiones. I come from an educational system where I was the only black kid. So it was a lot of like rich kids because I went to mostly private school. So I've heard of the Mangiones before. And to hear that this has all happened and that this young man's face is plastered all over the news, all over the internet, all over social media. And there's so many people that are weighing in. They have so many different opinions, so many different thoughts. And I'm not here to really talk about the whole healthcare system as far as who's right and who is wrong. I think we know, looking at the history of how healthcare is in general and how many people feel like they have been gypped, and many people feel like that they've put their hard-earned money and their tax dollars into healthcare and they haven't gotten the return that they deserve. So this lends into how people feel about this man and the actions that he decided upon and the end result. So Luigi basically took the life of the CEO of United Healthcare.
Hours ago, police identified Luigi Mangione as a strong person of interest. Police say the 26-year-old from Maryland had a written 3-page note about the insurance industry that could point to a motivation and mindset for the shooting. Police also recovered a gun, a silencer, and a number of fake IDs. 50-year-old Brian Thompson was killed last Wednesday in broad daylight in Manhattan. We're going to continue to follow this story and bring you updates as we get.
Just one night, made himself a whole weapon and appeared like a ghost in the night and just robbed this man of his life. What is the world coming to? And then you think like the state of people in their mind, and also to tie into like my channel and the topics I talk about. This is a young man that had a lot of opinions about society, and most specifically Japan. He went on a whole rant on X about Japan and how Japan society needs to improve on some things simply because the birth rate is so low. So from his thought process and from his point of view, he felt like that things need to be taken away from Japanese culture as far as maid cafes, restaurants where there is no human interaction really, stores that sell pleasure items, and to just bring back the old, the natural resources of Japan, like hot springs and just natural therapy. He feels like that this would help Japanese people to raise their birth rate. And this is why I say that it's very important that when you look at other cultures, that you don't just look at a certain aspect of it and just paint everything with the same paintbrush, because it's so easy to do. It's so easy to put everybody in one fine box. And the world doesn't work like that. Humans don't work like that. So I heard him, what he was saying. I respect his opinion because there's some truth to what he's saying. But at the same time, I felt like that he left out a lot of aspects. And one aspect is that Japanese economy is bad. Their yen does not have the same type of worth anymore that it used to have. People are not having children because wait for it. Let's think about it. They can't afford to.
With fewer babies, the outlook for Japan to remain a strong economy is bleak. If the fertility rate continues to fall at the same pace, Japan's population could shrink by 30% by 2070, with seniors aged 65 and up making up close to 40% of its people. Among the 47 prefectures, the fertility rate in the capital city Tokyo is the lowest at just 0.99, according to figures from the...
So it had nothing to do with maid cafes. It had nothing to do with restaurants or people choosing to do what they want to do with their happy adult fun time. It has more to do with money. It takes a lot to raise children. A lot of young people just do not have the money to go out on dates. They do not have the money to entertain a significant other, much less money for a wedding. And we got to think about what that entails. A lot of East Asian cultures, when it comes to wedding and wedding ceremonies, they go big. You go big or you go home. We talking about a whole reception with, you got to rent out the place where it's going to be, the wedding dress, not to mention the photo shoot, all of this, the cake. It's a lot. It's a lot of money on the line for that. And a lot of young Japanese people do not have it. It's bad enough that jobs are hard to come by. And this is not even just a Japanese thing. South Korea as well. Birth rate is low. People do not have the money to have children. Only people that are still well off are people that have high income jobs. You know, they can afford to have a nice high-rise apartment in Seoul. They can afford to have a baby because they're making that type of money to have a baby. But in general, the general population, especially young people ages like from their late teens to their 20s to their 30s, just don't have it like that. And I do think that he was someone that looked at this from his point of view as his time in Japan. I think he looked at it from a foreigner aspect, as a tourist from like anime and manga and pop culture, wherein it's a lot deeper than that. There's a lot going on with their overall economy and tax being raised and people just not being happy because stuff is expensive and people can't afford their livelihoods. And this all falls into children just not being made. I mean, how you gonna make a child when you can't afford the bed? It's like, how you gonna make a child when you can't afford the floor? I mean, cause they love futons. They like sleeping on the floor. It's food for thought. But going back to this guy, I just thought it was so interesting because he had so much to say about another culture. But then looking at American culture and what's going on right now, and he took the life of a man, and there's literally, as I speak, people online going back and forth about him and was his actions justified? Were they not justified? People being mad at healthcare. We need to have a conversation about American culture and American society. Because, and I'm not going to mince my words when I say this, and I mean this when I say this. No matter if this man was a bad person or not, no matter if the healthcare system is a bad program, bad system or not, nothing justifies taking the life of somebody. Nothing. And if you are one of these people that you're online and you're justifying it, you are sick in the head. And I mean, you're sick. I don't care. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care if you get upset. You're sick. There is no reason for this young man to ruin his life just because of how he felt in taking the life of somebody else. Now, there's some background history. People don't really know the full story of what happened here. There is an x-ray going around saying that he had to have surgery. They were saying that he was such a nice person and somewhere along the line, it shifted. He cut himself off from his family. His friends are like, they're looking like in the news cameras like, we don't know what happened here. They're like, this is not the guy that we knew. We're seeing this guy now. He is being pulled out the car, going into the courtroom, coming out of the courtroom, screaming at the top of his lungs, saying that, you know, they're trying to make a mockery of the whole situation and trying to make people look stupid. And I'm just like, brother, you killed somebody.
New details this morning about the man accused of gunning down the CEO of United Healthcare. He appeared in court yesterday and is fighting his extradition to New York City. KTLA's Jacqueline Sarkeesian is live in our newsroom with the story. Good morning, Jacqueline.
Hi, Eric. Good morning to you as well. It's being reported the suspect's fingerprints match the prints found at the scene of the shooting in New York. He's been identified as 26-year-old Luigi Mangione and has now been charged with murder. He was arrested in Pennsylvania, pleading not guilty. Mangione had his first court appearance yesterday. He was aggressive and had to be contained while shouting this.
Luigi, do it. And it's completely out of touch. And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and its lived experience.
As you just heard, that's Mangione yelling and shouting when he saw reporters outside of the courthouse. He's been denied bail and is fighting extradition, in which the state of Pennsylvania has 30 days to get a warrant.
It's like that. To me, there's no justification for that. Now this man that he took the life of, they're saying he really wasn't a good person. He wasn't innocent in the situation. There's so much thoughts running through my head. So when this story first broke, I actually thought that it was like a gay love triangle. I'm gonna be honest with you. When they first showed Luigi, I was like, okay, he's a handsome dude. And the pictures are going around online of him, nice body, handsome, curly hair, handsome dude. And then they're showing like the CEO. I'm like, were they in a relationship? Like, what happened here? How did this happen? Did he personally know this man? You know, like, and then there's also people speculating online, like, was Luigi bisexual? Was Luigi this? Was Luigi that? I'm not gonna waste my time. Like, me personally going through what he was, what he did. I do wonder about the connection and connecting the dots to everything though, because it's like, why did it end up like this? Why did he decide to create this ghost gun and basically send a bullet in this man's back? You know, did it have something to do with the surgery? Was he involved with the surgery? Were they lovers? You know, it's a lot of speculation here. It's a lot that you can sit and dissect and try to come to an overall conclusion. It's just that nothing justified him taking this man's life, no matter if he was scum of the earth. There's so many nuances to this, and how he also was caught. And people are saying like, oh, the people in the McDonald's where he was arrested at, they were snitches and all of that. And the person that didn't even get paid anything for ratting him out. They got their peace of mind. They're going to be blessed because they did the right thing. They turned in a murderer. No matter how I personally feel about it, no matter how anybody personally feels about it, they're saying like he's a vigilante, he's the modern day Robin Hood. No, he's a murderer. And let's also spread it all out on the table and keep it real. I keep it real here. I'm going to be honest. And I felt this way when I really looked at everything that was transpiring in front of me. It's also about healthcare, but it's also the fact that he's relatively attractive. He is an attractive man. I see this. A lot of people see this. If he came out looking like Shrek, nobody would really care too much. He's an attractive man. They see him with his shirt off. He's from a well-to-do family. There's people that are having fun picking and probing at this whole situation. And it's a very serious situation. Murder is not something that you play with. Murder is not something you make light of. You don't know what it's like until you're actually in it. You don't know what it's like until you've experienced it. Murder is not something that you play with. You don't play with stuff like that. And it's sad that we as a society, an American society, has come to this point where people think it's okay to be like, oh yeah, it's okay that he just took somebody's life. No, okay, now, if he felt a way about the healthcare system? Why didn't he use his brains and his education to just speak out on it and highlight it? Like, he had so much. He had a brain, a good head on his shoulders. He's an attractive man. There's so much he could have done. It makes me so sad that he went down this road. He went down a dark, dark, dark road. And now look. Now he's random people's online entertainment. He will never get the life that he had back. Because he didn't have anybody to push some common sense into him and to tell him, no, brother, don't do this, don't do this. This is not right. Don't do this. You ruined your life. Yeah, this man is now gone. Okay, you took him out, but now what? You're going to sit in jail. And also, like, it goes back to, like, you know, the death penalty and the death penalty not being really a thing anymore. And I think that bothers some people as well. But I don't want us to be in a society where we're taking matters into our own hands with certain subject matters and topics and instances. And it's really hard because, you know, even I can't sit up here and be like, there aren't situations where I'm like, yeah, that person needs to die. But it's still morally wrong. You know, it's not right. But there's so many layers to this. Him being attractive, the whole frustration with the healthcare system, people wanting something new to talk about because really deep down they have no lives other than social media. And it's all blowing up to this now, and people going back and forth. I think that the GoFundMe pages to support him are ridiculous. I think the t-shirts are ridiculous. Even I do think it's funny that, like, Luigi, his name is Luigi, and they have, like, the Mario character. That's funny. I will say that. I mean, to make a little bit light of the situation, that is funny. I do think. People got way too much time on their hands. Lord, I wish I had that much time on my hands. I really do. I really, really wish I did. Ooh. My condolences to the CEO's family. My condolences to Luigi's family as well. And I say this because I don't think that they raised a child that they wanted to do anything like this. Like, I really don't. I think something happened. And that's the question. What happened? What happened? That's what I want to know. Like, what is the overall background of this, that led to this? I think it's a little bit deeper than just healthcare. I think that's the part of it. But there's a mystery in this that's, you know, very, very much needs to be uncovered. Even if we don't know anything about it as, you know, the people on the outside looking in. I hope that the CEO's family gets some answers and that everybody involved gets some answers of what happened. So you guys, this is a lot to think about. Follow my social media, mostly my Instagram. Also a blog, Nick's Asian Pop Culture. The link is always down in the description box below. And remember, be real, stay real, live in the real, and I will always be back. Be safe out here, you guys. Happy holidays. I'll see you in the next video.